Paradox in paradise. Our earth, our life is paradise, but there's a paradox when I talk of an AK-47 on one side and a steth on the other. Huge fracture line, huge fault line between the two. But put it in the other way around. What is that protects our health? We use a stethoscope. And what is that protects our border? We use a gun. So if you see, it is actually an amalgamation of all which actually there is no fault line. Ardhanareshwar, that is Shiva and Shakti. This is the amalgamation of both. So if you can use these fault lines on a commonality, you will see that it can both help in making yourself adversity into a common goal, which is in a geometric GP, you can increase your potential. TEDx is meant to inculcate the knowledge which we people have, seniors have, into the next generation. So my few examples being amongst you all as doctor, and how I have used my life in the armed forces and as a medical person, as well as a soldier, to help, and you should learn from these things. If you see at one place, I am treating these very people with my stethoscope, and my gun is at the back, and the other, my gun is in front, and my stethoscope is behind. So this is how we learned, and we go on. So by start my journey as a young child, I was a freak in my family, being the only left-hander. There was no left-hander before me or after me. And as society in which I am, this says that a left-hander is the wrong hand. But fortunately, my father, being a doctor, and he understands the physiology, and there's nothing wrong. And from this society, which is, maybe they don't mean it, he protected my family and my parents protected me from this as I grew up. And that is one lesson which I want to tell, that you must protect the unprotected who have done no harm. It's not their fault. Fortunately, the only thing society could do is make me a right-hander batsman, but they could not change me from being a medium-pace left-hand bowler. Moving on in life, I used to play football when I was in class 3-4. And I realized, I can improve my game if, like some of the players who had a football shoe while they were playing. So one day when I went with my father to the market, where I used to accompany him sometimes, even as a small child, to the market, and that is how you learn day-to-day things. That is what my parents taught me. We went to a Bata shop, he had to buy something, and I was tying my football shoe. I found a football shoe, and I said, this I want to buy. My father being a government servant, and we, as you know, in government servant, we have a very moderate income. I saw that look on his face, and he said, there will be a time when you will get it. You continue with this kids, we used to call it kids, the white shoes. You buy this, you need it for your school, take this, and a day will come when I will give you the football shoe when you need it. That day I learned, even as a child, the prudence of financial management. That I understood that there's a limitation in everything you do. And the respect for my father increased. I never had a no from him. He was flamboyant. And there I realized there is something there which is telling me that you should be, in your flamboyance, you should have a frugality, live within your means. Later on in life, many years, you all must have been very small children. 2008, there was a massive economic shutdown all over the world. Markets crashed. And that was a time very unfortunate, like credit cards were booming. Banks were saying, take this card, non-bankers, take this card. Credit card was booming. Everybody was showing off, buying houses, vehicles, phones, materialistic. And suddenly this market closed. Families committed suicide, forget individuals, because they did not follow financial prudence. And I'm so fortunate to have learned this thing. So of financial prudence for my parents right at an early stage of life. Now, many of you all told, Kisa, your life in Armed Forces Medical College, how was it when I did my graduation? It was a big thing for me getting into such a great institute. And my head was looking up and great, and we landed up. And the first thing you see is a first termer is you are given a black and white shirt, all your hair is gone. What does it teach you? Some people, what happened? It was just out. But in this kind of, it was not called a ragging, it's called reorientation. It teaches you one thing. You look at saints, what kind of a dress they wear. You look at the religious leaders, what kind of dress. You look at a priest, what they wear. Very, very simple kind of thing. It teaches you, it brings out your personality. If you want to be something, bring it from inside. Don't, rely on artificial means to show yourself up. You will crash one day. So we were fortunate to have seniors in the term of so-called what we used to call ragging or reorientation, who taught us these things of how your dress is not that important, but developing your personality is much, much more important. The dress can come later. We went to the dining table, and there were multiple tables, as as in the hostel, and they taught us one more thing. You take one chapati at a time till everybody else in the table gets it. Don't pick up 4 chapatis. What did it teach you? It taught me distribution. As a leader, you don't take it to everything to yourself. You want to be a leader, you should first learn how to see there is equality in everybody. So these are very small lessons which, my seniors gave me. Seniors can be 2 types for a junior. He can use his seniority to teach you something, or he can misuse it. And when you call misuse it, that is called ragging, right? So I request your seniors to inculcate good cultures into the students. The third was discipline. You have to come and wake your senior at 6 o'clock and make a cup of tea for him. If you are late, you do push-ups, you do danpelna, whatever it is called, it is, all those things. Yes, some of us made excellent physiques doing that. But what it also taught us is discipline. Dr. Sethi said he comes 15 minutes before his class. If you cannot, that taught us that time is to be valued. You keep a class waiting, you are wasting that many minutes into 100 of the students who could have used that time for more productive work. You want to inculcate certain things in your next generation or teaching somebody, you have to follow those things. The fourth was, another thing was distraction. Distraction means how to overcome a situation given to you. Sundays used to be the worst day for us as the first termers. Why? Because you had whole day over there. You had to get out before 6 o'clock. We were very fortunate, 6 o'clock only the gates used to open. One day, one of my friends, he got late. He woke up late. Now, how do we get out? So we had 6 buildings together. It was a huge corridor of about, you can say, 60 to 70 meters. So from one end, the gate was at the other end, you have to get out of the gate. So what he did, he started flying. And he started saying, I'm a bird, and started flying. The seniors over there thought he's being ragged. And they were laughing, okay, he's a bird, and he's flying. And with that, he went to the gate and he ran off. So they also teaches you how to, adapt to a situation in a split second. So when you are going through a crisis, whether it is physical or psychological, sometimes you get the psychological things. Sometimes it is a very good thing where it teaches you to handle situations earlier in life. And not to say about the degree which they gave, the kind of clinical medicine which was taught. I then became an intern. And the first day in gynecology, my teacher said there was a lady who was a cancer. She had a colostomy. And if you know colostomy, it is unformed stool. Forget the color, and the odor is different. She told me, you as a doctor will clean that colostomy every day in the morning, and I will come and see before the round. So I started cleaning it. No nursing care, nobody. After 2 days, one nursing officer came to me and said, sir, come a bit early, I will help you do it. She didn't have to come and do it for me. I said, okay, no problem. But she used to come early, she used to stand, and then they should quickly help me do the things and get over it. So that teaches you one more thing. You, as a leader, learn to respect others' profession. That is what my teacher taught me. You learn nursing care is, though there may be a hierarchy of a doctor, a nursing officer, or a housekeeping, I started respecting everybody. So, and it was the other way around. The nursing officer saw her duty, she went beyond her duty to come and help me. After that, I went as an RMO. RMO is a regimental medical officer. You go to a border. I was in Kashmir. And I was a doctor among a different kind of people who are non-doctors. So as you know, 99% of our DNA matches apes. When another ape, a different type of ape comes, they try to, segregate you. So same thing happened with me. So the segregation was, we are tough, we are physically stronger than you. You may be a doctor, but you are okay weakling. So one day I analyzed what is so great about them that they are trying to show me. So they said they are physically strong, they are better in firing, they are good in shooters, and discipline. So I started as a duty, it is my duty also to be as a soldier, to be on parade every day in PT. So I started attending the PT. I started playing games, and God gifted that I am, I thank God for that. He's given me a good physique. I started doing well. We have a thing called a BPT, that is a Battle Proficiency Efficiency Test. 5-kilometer walk with a 20 kg pack, I started become excellent. In firing, after my work as a doctor, I used to go in the evening, practice firing. And that teaches you discipline, because you have to be accurate to shoot, because you have to be concentrating on accuracy, and that is exactly what we read in medicine. So that is what taught me that, and I became not out of, pick him up, but the respect which I got is because of I could match them face to face, eye to eye. That is the part of the gun about the steth. In J&K, the families could come and show you as in an army institution, otherwise only sees army patients. So this lady, there was a girl, suddenly foul smelling, and I found this 18, 19-year-old young girl, face covered, everybody, house people, face covered, come and smelling. This girl had undergone an obstructed labor, somebody had done a cesarean, and somebody, instead of giving the spinal at L1, L2, gave it in the lower. She developed a huge bed sore and incontinence. And the child, of course, died. The husband neglected her and left her. The doctor left her. And she had come to me in that state. I treated her. Now, I realized psychologically what is going wrong with her. Everybody was covered with the smell and stink. I said, I'm going to nurse her without a mask. I put gloves. I nursed her without a mask. Because you have to win the psychological battle which the patient is also facing. After 7-8 days of nursing, I gave some medicines to her. And the look in the eyes when she left is, aankhon mein baat is not only in love. When you look eye to eye, is not only in love. It is a kind of a respect and mutual, I say again, thankful for her, because I could make out that she had done nothing wrong and she will stand up on her own feet later on. From there, I went to, I was fortunate of the few who could go to a UN mission. And in the UN mission, this is what we were in a war-like situation, where my duty primarily was this, of treating patients of poor, underprivileged. This was in Somalia, one of the worst countries who was facing hardship. And this is also was there. What you're seeing in this plastic is RDX. It can blow up the whole of Calcutta. This was also available there at that moment of time. you can understand the situation which we soldiers were fighting in. And this is the kind of militia we develop, that friendship. We call it how you can, with your way you process yourself and show yourself, win these kind of soldiers. They are killers. You saw that RDX before that. Okay? When we were going, they were called the militia. The colonel of the militia, he said, sir, there were many people who wanted to attack the Indian contingent. But because of the medical camps, because of your health camps which you all did, the local people refused and, prevented such kind of attacks. And that is exactly what happened in the area where I was serving. We were the worst militia we had, but we had no attack. There were 23 Indians and besides over 100 soldiers who died at other places. So what I want to say is, humility, sometimes everything is not won with a battle. It is sometimes humility and empathy which we teach as doctors, which can carry the day for you. Look at these. Some of the people, we found these kind of creatures there. They're very dangerous looks, but sometimes I feel they were more friendly than the kind of people we work in. So it's not only us. Look at this person. This is an NGO landing on a road, coming with a plane and landing and supplying, medicines to us over there. So in the last but not the least, I'd like to just tell you, even in this madness, even in these things, you must know how to have a self-protection, look after yourself psychologically. Just look at this cake on my birthday. It's chapati below. They have put some kind of concoction of milk powder and made it, and some chocolate thing which they got, and they celebrated birthday. So you have to look for, stress, for avenues to, come out of it. I was yesterday in the psychiatric ward, going for a visit there. I found young girls, young boys, 50% of the ward full of that. Some of them have cut their wrists, some are doing this for petty things. So ladies and gentlemen, there can't be worse situations which we soldiers have gone through in the army, which we all go through. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just inculcate into the next generation that use your strengths rather than these kind of problems. Thank you.